Talks. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. Y'all know my co-host, John. John, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Doing good.
Well, happy 2024.
Happy 2024.
Yeah, what
Here we
the
go.
hell? Here we go. Here goes the roller coaster ride. All right,
Oh,
everybody.
shit.
This is actually going to be a really good fun night because I uh gonna throw some in between stuff, but first I want to give props to the Army. Did beat the Navy last year, and that shit will never happen again. I'm gonna straighten their ass up. But tonight, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to be talking about toxic exposure risk activity, known as the TERA. And TERA Memorandum is pretty much what is now in the PACT Act and what they go off of. And with some of the stuff, I don't really understand it. I mean, they even have a TERA form. Oh, yay. And and me and John are going to read a little bit of it. I'm going to have a little bit of fun with it. But I was telling John before the program that I'm going to talk to each and every one of y'all about one thing. We all deal, especially with the toxic exposures out there, with sinus problems. Almost everybody who I know right now has a sinus infection. Well, and they have that really severe cough. I saw something today, and I would like for everybody to try it. I think it'd be a great idea, and I believe it works. I did my research on this. A big marshmallow, one of
Yeah.
them big marshmallow puffs. No, if you chew it, so you don't take the whole thing and just take it and swallow it. You eat it up. You got to eat it good, but it has a jello inside, and it coats your throat, and it will prevent you from coughing. I have seen where people that literally say that this thing totally works 110%. So try it. A big marshmallow. If you have a severe cough, just try the big marshmallow. Just give it. Look, you try honey. You try it with Jack Daniels and all that bull crap. You gargle
I
the salt
think you
water.
put too much JD or something in your cup
Dude,
before you
no,
give it
no,
the
no.
entire.
I'm telling you, people are raving about that new. I mean, Marshmallow could do a whole new ad on that bullshit. That they have a
A
really severe.
marshmallow.
Yes, eat a big marshmallow because what it does is it coats the throat. And with us having sinus infections and you get them sore throats and all that, especially if you have sinusitis, rhinitis, all that bullshit, stuff like that. I mean, bull snap. Sorry, in case my mom's watching. So let's get into the toxic exposure risk activity. So, I read through this. I really, last 2 weeks, I've been really, really going through all of it. And I didn't have to do this one, the PACT Act, because I did one that was similar to it back in the early 90s. But I have some issues with this one. Okay. Number one, where they're talking about, if you don't have if it's a non presumptive claim, and all that, and if the veterans participate in a terror event, it goes automatically over to opinion, and it's warranted. Okay, and it's a terror medical opinion. Okay, a CMP exam. Who the hell
Mhm.
is giving the CMP exams? Is it the same? I mean, is it people that know about toxic exposures?
So, yeah, that's a good question. So, to define what a toxic exposure is, they list it as herbicides, radiation, mustard gas, burn pit, or the contaminated water at Camp Lejeune.
Okay, how
And
come oil rigs ain't in there?
well, that's a fair
Fires.
question. They expand on this, but my non-medical mind, um,
That's a
that can get
big
kind of
non-medical
elaborate.
mind.
It's not. That's me.
Me too.
I leave that to my wife and my son. But yeah, the burn pits that can incorporate a whole. I mean, how much crap was thrown in burn pits? I mean,
Well,
you know.
I mean, so I looked at the Department of Veterans Affairs memorandum, like little questionnaire. It has the client's name, file number, and then the date. Now you go in, and it's like talk exposure to. I mean, they make it look like a pretty legit that we cannot understand a damn word that comes out of this, except for the first question: does a veteran qualify for presumptive or exposures for one or more of the following hazardous during the military service? Herbicide, radiation, mustard gas, Camp Lejeune. Um, how in the hell would they know if it's herbicide, mustard gas? I know how they would know with the radiation at Camp Lejeune. I mean, I would. I really would understand that. Okay. But nowhere in there that I saw was about oil rig fires or oil wells on fire or any of that stuff. So this is how I would do the TERA program, okay? And which they have their little spots that they put everything out. If you've been, so come to find out, apparently we were in Jabal about 8 or 9 times, and my shipmates were reading this off to we were kind of talking about this. While my shipmates were sitting there, I was like, how many times we hit Jabal maybe once? Oh no, it counts how many times we were there, and then Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, and all this stuff, and it goes through list, and list. So I I I think on your DD-214 it may also have that. I'm not sure. Who
Mhm.
knows?
It should. I would think it would.
But we know they were spraying mustard gas over us. We know we were hit with sarin gas. We know there was a plume of smoke, and
So
this is.
with
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just saying, as far as us in the terror, the toxic exposure risk activities, because we were, I would think that would be pretty much a presumptive because we were there. But they're saying, well, if you're having difficulty breathing, if you're coughing or wheezing or having fainting feeling or weakness, which I think that applies to all of us. If you're in the Gulf, you're probably suffering from one of those, if not all of them. Hopefully not difficulty breathing too bad, but that could be also, when you're sleeping, you know. So a lot of different avenues of approach. But, for those that were at Camp Lejeune, it's a separate deal. Here again, isn't that considered a presumptive if you were at Camp Lejeune,
Well,
during the
right,
time
okay.
frame in which,
But here,
yeah.
another question: is there any evidence of non-deployment related exposures?
Mm,
How the hell does that have to do with the toxic exposures? I mean, now I guess that would be Camp Lejeune or something like that. So they should have different questionnaires for the ones who were in
yeah.
Camp Lejeune and ones who were in Desert Storm and ones who were in Iraqi Freedom, and the ones who went there in between, Desert Storm and because we had Southern Watch and all that stuff. I mean, but some of these questions is just like uh, they know you were already there. They know
Yeah.
you were already exposed. So why the hell do we got to go through all this? And then what do they do with this information? I can tell you what they do. Everyone that I've talked to that has done this, not a damn thing. What they do is
But they
say,
don't.
unless you got a claim out there, then if they don't believe, like one of my friends is waiting for an IBS claim, they put
Mhm.
it on the Terra, and I'm like, but that was a presumptive beforehand. So I'm like, why is it thrown over to the toxic exposures? So are they mix matching everything that's going on, which doesn't make sense on all this stuff? And so that's why I want to talk about the TERA program because, I mean, most of us who have already filed, who already, done the Gulf War illness back in the early '90s, are everything you claim is under the Gulf War.
Mhm.
Like I didn't have to do any of this
Oh
because,
well, I didn't either. I
right.
didn't either. It. So I don't know there. I'd like to know what where the politicians or where the VA. how they're trying to designate things, because it's almost like they're just adding more mixture to make things more difficult.
Right.
I mean,
Right,
I
and
don't
that's
know.
that to me. That's what it is, and to me, I think the problem that I have with this memorandum that they have here is all they have to do is look at your service record. They know where you were, when you were there,
Yeah.
everything. They know if you were exposed, and that's what one of the reasons why I'm talking about the TERA program night is because Wade introduced me to the movie The Gulf War, 1985.
Hmm.
If you have not watched that movie, I am going to push that movie to tonight. Gulf War 1985 Prime. 2-part series. It will piss you off. Because in the very beginning of that show, of after they get back, or while they on one of them was on their way back. And this is all based on true stories. Even with the congressmen, the senators, everything. Was the guy first said, I'm pooping blood. Could not
Hmm.
understand. And he went to medical and he kept going to medical over it. It's the same thing I went through. I was pooping blood. Then blood was coming out my ears, out my nose. So that's why I'm pushing it. The Gulf War 1985, y'all, it's with Ted Danson. Y'all really need to go watch that show. Sit your kids down and watch it. They're old enough. Sit your wives down, sit your family members. Tell them to watch that show because that is exactly everything that we're going through. And Ted Danson was, in that movie, was a bitter Vietnam vet who didn't like Desert Storm veterans because they got the praise and the Vietnam didn't. Exactly what it was. But then when he realizes what we were exposed to over there, he starts pushing it. And guess what happened?
Hmm.
They just kept cutting them down, and cutting them down. And that's why I think the TERA program is really important, but they're not asking the proper questions. Instead of saying, all they have to do is say, were you ever exposed to any type of toxic air, you know, radiation, or any of that? Anybody, 90% of Army guys were probably exposed probably to either or both radiation or fire,
I,
sarin gas, mustard
I,
gas, and all that.
I would say it, regardless of what branch you're in, if you were in theater, you were exposed.
Right. Well,
Um,
y'all were more because when you watch that show, that plume of smoke when they decided to blow up all Saddam's stuff, they thought it was
mm,
going to push up into Iraq instead of push towards Kuwait and down into
no.
the theater. And that's why I'm saying that it is very important for y'all to go out and watch this show and have your family members. I'm not saying the acting is great in it, but I will tell you it portrays exactly what we're going through. It talks about, you know, you can tell the people came back with ALS, uh, 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 neurological disorders, you know, mysterious bleeding, mysterious viruses. They were getting told it's all in their head. I mean, this is why I would change the questions on here. And one of the things is where were you at in the theater? Well, they already know where you're at, but you just go ahead and answer where you're at. They say yes. Do you feel like you were exposed to any oil rig fires or you know, or any of that stuff? Because you can't tell them. Yeah, I felt like I was exposed to mustard gas, sarin gas, and radiation. Not unless you know for a fact. I mean, nobody can say that, but they can determine where, when, how, why. They have all that information. They have it all.
Mhm.
And then underneath it should be, okay, what are your main symptoms? What is this? What is that? What's going on with you now? Um, Neurological disorders. I mean, they could lump this into like 20 different groups of people with
Yeah.
fibromyalgia, neuropathy, and I mean, all of us would be lumped into IBS or chronic fatigue because that's one
Mhm.
of our severe things. Is we're so tired and we're so you know, the exhaustion that we're all going through. And then the other thing is the sinuses. A lot of people sinuses. I know somebody. She's a really good friend of mine that was out in theater And as long as I've known her, she's had a cold. It could be
Really?
summer, winter, fall. I mean, it doesn't matter. And that's just not normal. I mean, eventually you would think that shit would dry up. It doesn't dry up. And so, a lot of these things that all coincide with everything, and um, I honestly believe that's where Dr. Glum and all them, like, she's doing it right. She's got the questions properly for the vets, and doing the right studies. And I also think Ross Camp is starting to do the right thing, or has been doing the right things, and the Washington D.C. thing. So as we get older, I'm just telling each and every one of y'all, we have to treat our bodies better, because so we can get older. If we treat our bodies bad, everything we were exposed to is going to hurt us. And so when you go out and when you talk to your doctors and you talk to them about the exposures that you were in, and I literally, my doctor one of my doctors at the VA, she's sending people and I'm getting phone calls, and they're asking me questions, and they're talking to me. They've been watching the podcast, because she is learning each and every day about what is going on with us out there. So
It'd be kind of interesting. Sorry to interrupt, Kevin,
no,
but
you're
I mean,
fine.
when a doctor, especially a VA doctor, and this gal you're talking about is a VA doctor, or she's a civilian
No, VA. It's a VA doctor.
doctor? Okay, it's interesting to me because now each VA doctor is going to be different depending on how many veterans they've seen. Those of us that are in the Gulf, go into them and you explain to them what your problem is on that given day. Now, if you expect them to somehow miraculously cure you with some magical pill, that ain't gonna happen.
They mask it.
But yeah, the only thing, the best, unfortunately, about the only thing they can do at this point is mask whatever your discomfort level is with something as minute as ibuprofen or Motrin or
Okay.
just
But
things.
but here's one for you, John. So people are going out getting stem cell injections, and they put them
Yeah.
into the problem areas, and they go in, and the stem cell is supposed to go in and start fixing that problem that's going in. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
why can't the VA do that with us? Why aren't they doing stem cell injections on veterans that are with toxic exposures, and just flooding their body with the cells to try to fight the exposures out? People with neuropathy, people with fibromyalgia, people with stomach issues. I mean, you
Right.
see what I'm saying? There's ways that I believe that they could do it. If they really want it to make us better, they can go about doing it.
Well, our government, you know, um, and never mind, I can't talk about that subject matter. But yeah, no, I mean, there's things out there to alleviate pain. It's about, what was the one, a celiac plexus block, which I haven't pursued, because quite frankly, it makes me nervous. Because
That
that has
don't
to
even
do with putting an
sound
injection.
fun.
Now, we're putting an injection in my spine, so it blocks the nerve pain to my abdominal organs. I'm like, I mean, I
I
just,
like the way, nah.
it just, I mean, I don't know that I want to introduce something into my spine. Is it an
Well,
alternative? Yeah. Because that's the only thing that risk came up with for me. Um,
the only thing
and I
risk came
haven't
up for the only thing risk since you brought that up. Sorry to interrupt, but the only thing risk
you
came up
get,
for me is there's nothing we can do for you because you cannot cure neuropathy. I don't believe that. I think anything and everything out there in this world has a fix, has a cure, some type of a cure. There's something. Uh, Don't tell me that you can come up with one thing, but you can't do another. I really truly believe that if they really wanted us to be fixed, there's stuff out there to do it. I truly believe that. And I'm sorry if there's people out there like, hey, well, you know what? I really don't feel that way. They can't cure cancer. They can't cure this. hogwash, man. All these years that they've been doing all this stuff, they got they got ways to go about this stuff, and I think the way for us would be stem cells. Do a
Mm,
really good, because that's what our problem is our cells are dying off. So flood us with them. I mean,
yeah.
why not? I've been really studying about this stuff, and I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not even close to a doctor. Heck, I'm a barber. That's what I do for a living. But I mean, like, but it's really weird because I can tell when somebody comes in if they're sick. I can tell by their hair. Like, ooh,
Tell
man,
by the hair.
man, their hair start falling out. They don't look the same up there. And so you know, you can really tell that kind of stuff. But
Mm.
I talked to people who have had stem cell injections, and it just made them so much more better and feeling better. I but
Well,
I I just believe there is stuff out there. That's my
so
opinion, and they can
what?
stick it in their ear if they don't believe it.
So some of the things we discovered over the last couple of years, Kevin, that actually help those of us that are having the extreme exhaustion and other things. I mean, so you know, we often will throw out Dr. Garth Nicholson because he came up
Right?
with NT factor. That has certainly helped me. Now, here in the last 3 days, something my wife refers to it as, well, you're cycling again. Like, I give her a messed up. What do you mean cycling? She goes, like, you go through it like every 3 months. Just like it's not a depressive thing. It's just I ain't got no energy.
Yeah.
But Dr. Nicholson, I do take that, but I think with any medication, at some, and that's it's not a medication. That's something, anti-factor you can buy over the counter. It's an energy lipid, right? Or chewables. And Wade got us on that because it worked for him and it's working for me. But all of us know that eventually, whatever it is that we're taking to help us with our situation, because of our system, over a period of time, there's going to be a point where it plateaus. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it won't.
Well, right,
You
yeah,
know.
and right. Yeah, I mean that's with every almost anything and everything you do. Okay, so speaking of that, I made another stupid bet, John.
Okay.
Everybody listening to Wonderland right now, I need your help, and we're gonna leave comment. I want these left in a comment. It's either a yes or a no. So I made a bet with some shipmates about guys and girls who date, and I can't say what side of the fence I'm on because they told me I'd be cheating because my people will vote my way. So I'll put it out there. When you go to date, let's say you're in the military, you meet somebody or she meets you, you're both exactly 5'8". Is there a height restriction? Like, would a woman date uh, a guy that's about an inch shorter, or would a guy date a girl with that's an inch taller? So I just want y'all's opinions. It's a yes or no. Would you date somebody? Would you date somebody if you're a guy? Would you date somebody that was either your height or maybe a little bit taller? Or girls, would you date a guy who was about your height or an inch shorter? All I need is a yes or no. Yes is for you would date, or no would be no. If y'all don't mind putting that in there, because we have a really big bet going on. I can't say what side of the fence I'm on because they would call that cheating. You know, like the Army Navy game. If I would have talked to a Navy guy, no, I'm not saying Army cheated. If I would talk to a Navy guy, I could have helped him out a little bit more. But hey, could told him what to do. And so, and Mike, thank you. Mike's the first one to answer. And I'm going to let this go on for at least about 12 to 24 hours. So anybody types yes
So
or
what
no.
you really want to
You
know,
know,
do the girls, are they more attracted to taller or guys the same height, or is
no,
it okay if they're a little
no.
shorter?
I just want to know if a guy and a girl would date each other Exactly how I said. I can't say it again because I get confused.
Does it matter
Uh,
how much of an income they got or what they do for a
no,
living?
no, just that. Just that.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, now
Uh,
and now I'm not gonna say what the bet is until after it's over with, but I know I'm gonna win. I
you're not
gotta
gonna be
win
homeless,
something.
are you,
Shit,
after the fact?
you never know. Uh, and now the other thing tonight that I definitely want to talk about is what really is going to be cool is the upcoming shows that we got next week. We're gonna have Mike on, and Mike's gonna get a hold of me tomorrow. He's listening to tonight, but we also have one show that I think is going to be interesting, and it's going to be about discharges, different
Oh
types
yeah.
of discharges, and what you can and cannot file on. And so we're doing a little bit of homework. That's going to be an interesting show because a lot of people are going to learn some shit they didn't even know. I'm learning shit I didn't know about the discharges. It's just really, it's really fantastic if you go and learn about what I mean. It is really hard to get dishonorable discharge. Just to let you know, it is really hard. You really got to jack up something bad. And so, but if you did it, I'm really sorry. Don't take offense to what I'm saying, although I don't give a shit. But and also we're going to also our round table is going to be switched up a little bit. We're going to change the name of it. We're going to also add a couple more people to it that I want to add to it, and I really this year is going to be information. And if y'all have information, let me know what type of information. Somebody said they want us to talk about one year of nothing but ALS, neurological disorders, and all that stuff. And I think that's great. And I know that my son just put he's offended, but I don't care if he's offended because you know what he did to me over Sunday. I'll tell that in a little bit was pretty damn funny, but uh so let's we got a lot of action packed shows, and so we just want to make sure each and every single body out there gets what they need answered. If you have a question you don't want us to talk about on air but you want to know, y'all got my email, you can instant message us. And uh so John, with the TERA, which I'm going to go back to that a little bit more on the toxic exposure, risk. Okay, there is no toxic exposure risk activity form we should have to fill out. If you were in theater, exactly, you don't need to fill out that form. You were already there. You were already exposed to toxic. It's already been proven, and you know that's the part that I'm bringing out about TERA. I don't really believe we really need to be filling out these forms. They know we were there. Why do they want us to fill it out? It's just more damn bureaucratic bullshit.
Yeah, I would let your VSO guide you on that.
Right.
Because yeah, because that's what they do. They
That's right.
understand, that they understand the ins and outs. And I had somebody I was texting on Messenger the other day, and they they told me that their husband had brain cancer, and I suggested to them, somebody had told them, well, do your claim online. I said, do not do your claim online. I
Not
said,
for
go
cancer.
to your well, go to your VSO, benign or not, I don't care. And they were having, oh, matter of fact, Kevin, this person was, they were being sent to the Houston area. I think they were out of Louisiana, and it was the wife of a veteran that was sharing this information. I said, do not try and fill it out A on your own, or B, don't. I mean, VSO does it online, that's fine, but don't you do it online. because you're probably the probability of you failing or screwing something up is way high. I
Right.
mean, way
All
high.
it takes is one piece of just one word to screw up your claim. One word, and
Yeah.
especially with cancers, you definitely want to file. Even if you had 100%, you file on that because if you die from that cancer and you do not put a claim in for it, and you or anything like that, your spouse doesn't get anything. So
Yeah. See, I forgot to.
that's
I would.
why it's so important to file on that and everything. So that's what and John told me earlier, even though he hasn't told me yet, but he's going to go work on the outreach program uh,
Oh.
act website and really start working on that this year. And that's his main goal. That's I can see it in his eyes. But so, guys and gals out there, remember that when you go to file and it's a legitimate claim, use a VSO officer. If you're having that much problems, that's whenever I suggest to use a attorney or something when you're not getting anywhere. And John will tell you that's how I feel, and I know that's how most people feel. But John, on an end note, I I want to tell each and every one of y'all what my oldest son did to me this weekend, and it was probably the best joke ever played on me. So he sent me a card, and on the card it was a stupid cat in a hat and it sang jingle bells and going meow. Okay, not signed, not nothing. I'm like, this is stupid. So I said, I'm going to save this next year. It's in the back. Well, he calls me on Sunday. He's like, hey, Dad, did you get my card? And I'm like, yeah, I got that stupid damn card. You didn't even freaking sign it, nothing. He goes, Dad, you got to pull the tab, and it has a specialized message. I'm like, oh, well, dads don't normally look at that stuff. They look for Home Depot gift cards. So I get back to the house, I call him, and I'm like, all right. So I pull the tab, and the stupid damn card would not stop meowing. Jingle bells. I mean, you open, close it, you cannot shut the damn thing up. Somehow my son coerced me to say, take the battery out of the card. So I take the battery out of the card, and confetti goes everywhere.
Oh, geez.
I was like, that's damn good. I mean, really, truly,
That's funny.
that was. I got to give my son. He's on here, and everybody can give him a whole bunch of dislikes right now. His name's Colton on there, but
I give
yeah,
Colton thumbs up.
no,
That's awesome.
no damn thumbs up for that crap. But remember what I was telling y'all though earlier. If some of y'all didn't listen, if you have a really severe cough, I saw this. Take a giant puff marshmallow and just eat on it. You can't just take it and swallow the whole damn thing. Eat on it, and the jello inside of it will soothe your throat and make you stop coughing. I'm telling you, everybody who I've ever heard, it really, really works.
If Puff Marshmallow sales go up and you don't, I'm dying. Go out and buy Puff Marshmallow.
I know Christy put down Colton way to go. No, Christy, not Colton way to go. I saw that before she tried to hurry up and take that back off. Wrong answer, woman. I know she put that down there, but but it was funny. I got to give them credit. My kids think they're funnier than me, and so. But so everybody, if you haven't done the TERA program or you haven't done your toxic exposure list, go in and get it done, please. Please go get it done. I know it's frustrating. I know if you're sitting at 80% and you still have other problems or they have denied you, keep fighting. Don't stop fighting. the them claims are not considered compensation. They're considered um, what when you get hurt at work. What's that called? Workers' compensation.
Work. Well,
Workers'
right.
comp. That's what it is. And so I just want just don't give up. The I'm gonna let before I have my last thing. I'll go ahead, John. If you have anything left
No,
in that
I
big brain of yours,
eat, eat,
that
eat marshmallows.
giant, just don't laugh. Try it. That's what's
I'm
wrong
sorry.
with people. They don't try home
You sure
remedies.
these aren't injected with like some brandy
Dude,
or
I'm
something
telling you,
before?
man. I'm telling you, it works. And
You know, somebody's gonna send you cases of freaking marshmallows.
that's okay. Send me cases of marshmallows. I'll go freaking. I like to burn marshmallows and eat them. I like s'mores, but I'm gonna leave it on the last note. Starting 2024, just as I ended in 2023. Remember to be kind to each other. Remember to love one another. Be there for each other. Vets need to start working together. We can get this done and help each other out. That's how I feel. That's what this year is going to be. Is me and John helping each and every one of y'all if y'all have problems. We will be there. The other thing we're going to be here for is to try to make you laugh, try to have a good time with this, but be serious at the same time. I can be more serious than John. Just kidding. We all know that's a lie. But, and we're going to have another Army Navy vet and
You'll be
everything.
wearing lipstick again, and I don't know, like
Nah,
Tina said, baby. What did Tina say? You should put on a dress.
I tell
I don't
you
remember
what,
Tina.
we're going to have a really good bet. I'm going to kick y'all's butt this year. You know what? But thank each and every one of y'all for listening tonight. Next week,
Yeah, thanks everyone.
yeah. And next week, we're going to have a guest on and everything. We want to start 2023. We're talking about the PACT Act and the TERA, and also to give y'all remedies and everything. But don't forget to vote if height matters. And so y'all have a great evening. Thank you.